Russell Barnett Ford of Tullahoma is proud to present The Shasteen Show from London's in downtown Tullahoma. Brought to you by Southern Community Bank, Rogers Insurance Group, and Mission Collision. Now, here are your hosts, Scott Shasteen and Ken Keller.
Welcome in to The Shasteen Show on this beautiful Monday in southern Middle Tennessee. Along with Ken Keller, I'm Scott Shasteen. It is our late July edition. One more July show, and then we're in to August. So welcome in. Welcome to London's in downtown Tullahoma, the home of the best burger in Tullahoma. It's happy hour. Come on down to London's. Enjoy a fine meal and enjoy the Shasteen Show here. Keller, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great. Ready to talk some sports tonight with my partner here.
Man, we got a full docket. For late July, we got a full docket. We'll play trivia here in a minute. You got to be present to win in trivia. So go ahead and start heading down here. You're going to want to win this outstanding prize that Ken's going to tell you about in a minute. 24 days till high school football season starts. We got SEC Media Days, all-state teams, the Open, Five Faces, Tebow, Tiger, Tracy, and a strange transfer in high school football. It's a full show. So sit back, tune in. You can watch the replay of this show on LightTube, Channel 23, beginning Wednesday at 6 o'clock. So let's begin with one of your favorite subjects, Tiger. Tell me who won the Open yesterday.
Francisco.
I'm
trying to think of his last name.
Molinara.
There you go.
Yeah, but most people don't even know who won the Open yesterday, but they do know what.
The Tiger, he fared well.
Fared very well. Yeah. Had a great Saturday, a good Sunday, not good enough, but a good Sunday, but a great Saturday.
Yeah.
The ratings were the highest on Sunday that they've been in about 20 years for a golf tournament.
Fantastic.
Tiger Woods is a transcendent athlete, right? People who don't care, they're not watching golf anymore. They saw on Twitter or whatever, somebody told them Tiger was in contention. They cut it on. So I asked the Deuce question. I'll ask it now. Does he win again?
I said never that he would not, but he only finished 3 shots off the pace. I believe it's
2 or 3.
Yeah, 5 under. After the Masters, that's my favorite tournament. It used to be the British Open, the Open. Now they changed the name, took the British off of it because of the early starts on the weekends. Man, I love watching that. On Saturday morning, it's almost like you cut it on at 9 o'clock, and you know how you watch the NFL or the college football game day, and then you've got golf on. And man, what a great tournament! He had the lead, actually, Scott, on Sunday on the last day at -7. Before he had that double bogey on number 11, but I enjoyed watching him. I was rooting for him, although he's not my favorite. I know he's your favorite, so I thought Mr. Eldrick Tiger Woods showed himself very well. I was impressed with the way he got off the tee for the most part. That long driving iron that he was hitting, he had some wonderful shots. Man, it was a great tournament.
He's come from a pretty dark place. He's come a long way back. And to see him playing this well, I think is great for golf. 42 is a different 42 than it was 20 or 30 years ago. There's a lot of people out there competing in their 40s now, and I think he's got a chance to win.
Yeah,
absolutely do.
And really, when I was watching it Saturday and Sunday, I just kept feeling Jordan Spieth. Tiger was slipping a little bit. He had that double bogey on number 11, I think, and then he bogeyed 12. So he dropped 3 shots right there. He had not had a bogey, I don't think, the whole tournament, and he had birdied number 11 the first 3 rounds, and then doubled it. There's your 3 strokes right there, man. Other than that, he's right there knocking on the door.
I think Tiger Woods has a better chance to win another major than Ricky Fowler does to win his first, because he just can't. He can't finish a major at all.
Yeah, and Tiger fans, they now have hope that he can do it and get it done. Leading at -7 on the final day of a major, and the 66 he shot on Saturday was the best round that he had since the 2011 Masters when he shot a 66 in around there.
He was in a groove on Saturday.
He was.
And what a gorgeous weekend. Did it not feel like football season when you walked outside Saturday and Sunday morning?
Yeah, that's what I said.
It was awesome.
I thought the leaves looked like they was even turning a little bit. I said, man, this fall weather's in the air a little bit.
Yeah, I felt that way this morning.
Yeah.
Been that kind of day. Timmy Tebow broke his hand.
Oh.
He's out for the year. There was so much optimism that Tebow would be called up in September by the Mets because they're terrible. They're going nowhere. But Tebow broke his hand over the weekend, or Thursday, I think. Say he's out for the year. I say it's all just a big plan. It's time for him to start working that SEC network again.
I like it, yeah.
He needed to go somewhere else.
That's right. I like that. He
So,
could be on there with Feinbaum and Marcus Spears and Greg McElroy and the boys. So, yeah. How about that? So I hate that he got hurt. Probably I don't know how the injury occurred, but he probably went all out diving for a ball or something. I mean, that's just the way he plays. He competes in football or baseball, man. The guy's a competitor. I love watching him play. Glad he made the All-Star game in AA. I want to see him in the majors one day.
And we're going to play Five Faces today. We're going to get to it. The Five Faces of Tennessee and Alabama football right here today on the Shasteen Show. But first, we're going to play a little trivia as I open up this hermetically sealed envelope. Now, this is our 4th week without phone connections here on the Duck. Lightning is a bad boy, and it doesn't go away quickly. But we're dealing with it. We've had winners 2 out of the 3 previous weeks by folks being here and announcing the winner. So that's what you're going to need to do today. You're going to need to come to London's. It's on the corner of the alley. It's called the alley. I think it's actually called Wall Street, but we call it the alley here in Tullahoma. And West Lincoln Street, right downtown. You know where London's is. Just come in and answer this question. And Ken, our winner today will receive what?
Well, I went to Tullahoma Awards and Gifts yesterday afternoon, and I said, give me the most rugged, tough-looking license plate you got. This is great. It's got this little metallic look here with the rivets in it, just looking like steel. The power of the T. Jeremy Pruitt referenced the power of the T in his inaugural press conference for the Tennessee Volunteers this last Wednesday, and I thought did an excellent job. And he's wanting to restore power to the Tennessee Power T. You can put this on the front of your vehicle, this fluorescent orange T, black trim on this beautiful silver, rugged-looking license plate, donated by Tullahoma Awards and Gifts, our good friends Brian and Scott Balkersell at Northgate Mall in Tullahoma. I feel confident a Tennessee fan's going to win this one. If they don't, you might be taking home another prize, Mr. Shasteen.
Oh, well. All right, let's play some trivia here. Remember, you got to come to London's to win it. When was the last time that the Tennessee football Volunteers defeated both Auburn and Alabama in the same regular season? The last time Tennessee beat Auburn and Alabama in the regular season. Why do we ask that question? Because the Vols play Auburn and Alabama this year, back to back.
Yeah,
that's going to be a tough little stretch.
It is, and you know, I was kind of watched Jeremy Pruitt in his press conference, and he was asked about playing Alabama, and he said, "I'm not worried about Alabama. I'm worried about West Virginia, that first game." And Tennessee fans got reason to be optimistic about that first game. Tennessee has not lost a season opener since when? How many years it's been?
1894.
That's good. Good answer. But the correct answer is 2008. They lost in overtime to the UCLA Bruins. That was Phil Fulmer's last year, 27-24. So Tennessee has won that many games in a row. They're pretty good in openers.
They're pretty good in openers. This is a tough one. Never played the Mountaineers before.
But the Mountaineers have never played the Vols.
That's true, especially as the favorite.
Yes.
A lot of trash talking going on social media between Tennessee fans and West Virginia fans. Vol Twitter has now become a thing. Since the Greg Schiano disaster, Vol Twitter, which stopped the hiring of a head football coach, the only Twitter family in the world that's ever done that, Vol Twitter is now it's not people, it's a thing.
It is. And you were part of that. You were part of that overthrow, Scott.
Anything I can do to help, Vol Twitter.
You did, brother.
I'm all in. So, before we get into Five Faces, let's talk a little bit about a couple of high school football stories that are quite interesting. First of all, as we preview Tullahoma's schedule last week, we talked about the challenge that quarterback Bryce Wallace would present at Marshall County. And, of course, Bryce Wallace is the brother of Bo Wallace, who won a state championship at Giles County, went on to win a national championship at Blinn Junior College in Texas, and then had a great career at Ole Miss. He is back in Middle Tennessee now as the offensive coordinator at Giles County. Well, guess who transferred this week from Marshall County to Giles County? Younger brother Bryce Wallace. Ken, that has thrown Southern Middle Tennessee, Marshall and Giles County, which is a huge, bitter rivalry anyway. They've had a lot of this back and forth stuff over the years. It's thrown them folks into an uproar.
Oh, that would be about like on the college level of Jalen Hurts transferring from Alabama to Tennessee. You're right. It's big news, and it changes really the balance of power in Region 4-4A, the region that the Tullahoma Wildcats are in, because they're still going to see Bryce Wallace, just not the third game of the season this year.
And not in a region contest.
Correct.
However, I believe that it doesn't change the balance in Region 4-4A. I will stick with my prediction: Maplewood, Nolensville, Marshall County, Tullahoma. I think Marshall County's just got a lot of good players.
Yeah, they do.
But it's going to be a big swap.
Yeah,
they've got to completely adjust now.
And they don't have
everything
much time.
They've been planning to do.
Yeah, they don't have much time. And they do have a couple 300-pound linemen. It's always when you got men and numbers in the trenches, that kind of beef, that kind of girth. You can run the ball. They're going to still be solid, but you take Bryce Wallace, his passing and running ability that we witnessed last year, I would rather face him in a non-region game than a region game for sure.
I'll put it this way. I think Tullahoma's got a better shot to beat Marshall County now than I thought they did last week.
Yeah, and
for sure.
And I like the fact that we play them the third game of the year before they can really get going.
That's
play
right.
them early.
That's right. There's hope. Another big story in high school football this week comes out of Grundy County, the Mountain, Colmont, Tennessee. Tracy Hayworth, whose games I called on the old Boogie 93 while he was at Franklin County High School, went on to play at the University of Tennessee, went on to play for the Detroit Lions. He was a teammate of Tullahoma's Antonio London on the Detroit Lions. Imagine that. It was amazing back in the early 90s. The Detroit Lions had a player from Winchester, Tennessee, and a player from Tullahoma, Tennessee. That's just unbelievable. But anyway, Tracy, this week, named to replace Scott Smith as the head football coach at Grundy County High School. Tracy has not been a head coach before, had a couple of coaching spots. He's been an announcer for Franklin County for the last few years. Tracy's a super guy, but he becomes the first black head coach on the Mountain. That's Sequatchie County, Grundy County, DeKalb County, Marion County. Tracy's a trailblazer at Grundy County. Ken, that just came out of nowhere. Scott Smith, I believe, fired on Monday. Tracy hired on Thursday. That's going to be awesome watching how the Yellow Jackets do this year.
Yeah, you think they had a deal worked out before the firing?
I plead the fifth right there.
Yeah, but, I remember Tracy Hayworth back in high school, and the guy, he was a physical freak. You looked at him, he had a pro body in high school. The guy was a monster and, played at Tennessee, was a great player there. And you're right. I remember watching the Detroit Lions. I watched the Detroit Lions a couple times a year. One of them was on Thanksgiving. Everybody watches the Lions and Cowboys on Thanksgiving. But Tracy Hayworth and Antonio London, that would make a great trivia question, Scott. I like that point you made there, those two guys.
I think we just gave the answer away.
We did.
All right, we need a trivia winner. Come into London's here and answer this question and win this outstanding Power T license plate. When was the last time the Tennessee Vols defeated both Auburn and Alabama in the same regular season? 5 Faces of Alabama Football is next. Driven by Russell Barnett Ford of Tullahoma, live downtown at London's. This is the Shasteen Show on 93.9 The Duck.
Have you heard the news? The Russell Barnett Automotive family has launched its new and improved website. That's russellbarnett.com. With over 1,000 new and pre-owned vehicles to choose from, then look no further than russellbarnett.com. Online service appointments, customer testimonials, and vehicle history reports, this website has it all. We are the largest Middle Tennessee family-owned dealership with 5 locations to choose from. RussellBarnett.com, and why buy anywhere else?
Do you need more? More golf, hunting, or camping? More basketball, soccer, and baseball? Do you need more football? Do you just need more sports? LightTube's digital sports tier has more sports. Offering 12 additional sports channels for only $3 additional a month? What are you waiting on? Call 455-4515 and get more today.
93.9 The Duck, your local radio station playing the classic hits you know and love. The Duck covers all your local high school and college sports, from the Shasteen Show on Monday nights to Alabama football on Saturdays. Spreading the word to our listeners about your local business from southern Middle Tennessee to North Alabama is what the Duck does. If you're a new business looking to grow or an established business looking to expand, the Duck has a custom plan to fit your needs. So become part of the flock with 93.9 The Duck.
Centrally located to the colleges, high schools, and middle schools it serves across southern Middle Tennessee, Sports Plus is also Tullahoma's only locally owned sports store with brands like Under Armour, Wilson, Rawlings, Majestic Athletics, and New Era baseball caps. Owner Joe Barstad has something for all fans and athletes alike, from pro and college apparel to your favorite hometown team. Sports Plus also works with the latest uniform trends and technology. Learn more at sportsplustullahoma.com.
You're watching The Shasteen Show, presented by Russell Barnett Ford of Tullahoma on LightTube Channel 23 and 93.9 The Duck. Now back to Scott and Ken at London's in downtown Tullahoma.
And we welcome you back in at 6:18 on this Monday night, along with Ken Keller. I'm Scott Shasteen. Welcome back to the Shasteen Show. We need a trivia winner. We need somebody to walk in the door, and people have just walked in the door, but walk in the door and answer this question. When was the last time the Tennessee Volunteers defeated both Auburn and Alabama in the same regular season? The last time the Tennessee Volunteers defeated both Auburn and Alabama in the regular season, what season was that?
1911.
Good guess? Incorrect.
Guess. The guess was 1911 by our walk-in guess.
I like it. I like it. All right, let's play Five Faces. It's a new game that Ken invented. And, you know, everybody plays this Mount Rushmore of this, the Mount Rushmore of that, the Mount Rushmore of Tullahoma politics, the Mount Rushmore of London patrons. We've changed it up a little bit. We're calling it Five Faces, mainly because it gives us one more name to put out there. Mount Rushmore is always 4. We wanted 5, so Ken invented Five Faces. I like it. We're going to do it. As long as this show lasts, we'll just pick all kind of crazy things to do Five Faces of. But today, we wanted to start with the 5 faces of Alabama football and the 5 faces of Tennessee football. So, Ken, we're going to get started with you. And this is historic now. This is all time. This is in granite on the side of a mountain. So you don't change them. It's 5 faces forever. Ken?
All right, so I think the format, I'll give one, then you give a test, and we'll go back and forth. How's
That'll
that?
work.
All right, I'm going to start off and tell you who is not on my 5 faces of Alabama all-time legends in football. Missing from my list is 3 NFL Hall of Fame quarterbacks that have won Super Bowls. I have a prominent Heisman Trophy winner that is not on this list. I have no wide receivers on this list, so that excludes Don Hudson, who was the first NFL wide receiver to catch 100 touchdowns, Julio Jones, and Ozzie Newsome. Okay, for sure, Ozzie Newsome, Hall of Famer, all-time leading receiver for the Cleveland Browns. Julio Jones will break records with the Falcons. None of them on there, so they are missing from my list. But I'm going to start out with the houndstooth hat. Got to. When you're talking legends, you're talking 5 faces, you're talking Mount Rushmore, you got to start off with Paul Bear Bryant. 3rd winningest coach in college football history, 323 wins. He won 232 of those games in the SEC at Alabama. All 6 national championships he won with the University of Alabama. So the Houndstooth hat has to start my list. He had a couple famous quotes, and this is one of them. You never know how a horse will plow until you hook him to a heavy load. And he says his favorite play is where the player pitches the ball back to the official after scoring a TD. And that's what exemplified all of Bear Bryant's teams. They won with class, they lost with dignity and grace, and they're always great sports, and he made winners out of those young men. But the thing about Bear Bryant is his nickname. I want to share this story because probably not a whole lot of people know how Bear got his nickname. So I'm going to tell you exactly how Bear Bryant got his nickname, and this is pretty cool. So this is from the book Bear Bryant, CEO. Taking on a difficult assignment may have been a common occurrence for the coach, but it was by no means something that he only exhibited as an adult. Growing up on a farm in Fordyce, Arkansas, the young Paul Bryant often walked to town. On one such visit, he saw a poster at the movie theater offering $1 a minute to anyone who would wrestle a bear. $1 a minute to anyone who would wrestle a bear. That looked pretty good to a young man chopping cotton for 50 cents a day. Bryant was able to get a hold of the bear securely enough to wrestle him to the mat. He held the bear down, letting the time pass, and the money piled up, Bryant recalled. The man kept whispering, "Let him up, let my bear up, let him up." "Hell, for $1 a minute, I wanted to hold him till he died," Bear said. Finally, the bear wriggled out of the muzzle with possibly a little help from its owner and bit the young boy on his neck. Bryant fled but returned to collect his money. The bear, the promoter, and the money were gone. I went to get my money after things settled down inside the Lyric Theater, and the bear owner had skipped town. Bryant recalled, "All I got out of it was a nickname." So now you know the rest of the story of how Bear Bryant got his nickname, wrestling a bear as a young man, as a teenager in the Lyric Theater in Fordyce, Arkansas. That's a pretty cool story.
I already knew that.
Well, there you go.
No, I had no idea. Would he be the same legend if it was just Paul Bryant?
I think so.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so.
You don't think that the nickname, it's just made it a little bit more, right?
It did. That little growl, the scowl he had, always poor-mouthing his team, no matter who they was playing. It didn't matter if they was playing Slippery Rock, they were beat on paper, according to Bryant, But, certainly legend. My first Alabama game in person, my dad took me in 1982 to Legion Field in Birmingham, and I watched Bear Bryant, remember him leaning up against the goalpost. Alabama lost that game to LSU 20-10. But then it's when I was hooked for life right there. My dad took me to watch the bear, and I was hooked ever since.
All right, excellent. Don't think there could be a 5 Faces of Alabama football without Bear Bryant.
Yeah.
Just like there couldn't be a 5 Faces of Tennessee football without General Robert Neyland. Right? I mean, he is everything that is Tennessee football, from the name of the stadium. I went through all of his stats a few weeks ago. I won't go through all that again, but he designed Neyland Stadium. They're still building off his design of Neyland Stadium. One of the greatest defensive coaches in the history of football. His teams one time pitched 17 consecutive shutouts. It depends on how many different polls you want to count, how many national championships he won. But we know in 1951 he won the undisputed national championship. In 1939, his team went undefeated until they played Southern Cal in the bowl, won that national championship. The General served in World War I and World War II. He's an American hero. He's a Tennessee hero. You have to start the 5 Faces of Tennessee football with General Robert Neyland. No choice.
Man, that's a great synopsis. I feel like that movie Deliverance, man, this is dueling banjos going on right here. I mean, that was good. That was good.
You're the guy sitting on the bridge.
Oh no! Yeah. Oh no!
With a banjo as they glide.
Yeah,
underneath
man.
that bridge,
I like
right?
the song though, man. They going at it, man. So that's good, man.
All right. So Bear Bryant, General Neyland, those were no-brainers. You all knew they were going to be on the list. Now, Ken, your second choice.
My second choice, I had to start out with a defensive player because Alabama's always been known for defense. Alabama put the nasty in the word dynasty on defense. And you got to start out for Alabama with number 58, Derek Thomas. I believe he wore 55 at Alabama, 58 with the Kansas City Chiefs. This guy is an incredible, just a bullet that would knock your head off. But at a school where defense rules, Derek Thomas was the greatest. And perhaps the greatest rush outside linebacker that I've seen in my time, no doubt about it. He is in the College and Pro Football Hall of Fame in both of those. His 1988 season has to be one of the greatest seasons ever defensively. In 1988, Derek Thomas had 27 sacks in one season. 27 sacks, 44 tackles for loss. That's in one season. That's a career for most guys. To put that into context, Alabama's national championship defense in 2011 that LSU only crossed midfield one time on and Alabama shut out, they had 30 sacks that entire season. 27 sacks in one season. This guy holds the NFL record for sacks in a pro football game, 7 against the Seattle Seahawks, and poor Dave Craig. Derek Thomas, one of my 5 faces of Alabama football forever. Derek Thomas.
Great choice. One of the best defensive players I've ever seen, that's for sure. I didn't mention who didn't make my list. And there are some great names in Tennessee football that didn't make my list. George Cafago. Now, most of you don't know who George Cafago was. He was a great player at Tennessee. He coached at Tennessee, assistant coach for like 52 years. I mean, George Cafago, Tennessee legend. Doug Atkins didn't make my list. Doug Atkins was a first-team All-American, first-team All-Pro for the Detroit Lions multiple times. He's in the College Football Hall of Fame, the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Doug Atkins, a great player. Heath Shuler didn't make my list. Heath Shuler, one of the great Tennessee quarterbacks, finished second in the Heisman Trophy voting, went on to be elected to Congress from the state of North Carolina. Senator Heath Shuler. Jason Witten didn't make my list. Jason Witten, the best tight end in Tennessee history, will be a member of the Pro Football Hall of Fame and will also likely be a member of the College Football Hall of Fame. He didn't make my list. Eric Berry, the best defensive back, I think, in Tennessee history, did not make my list. Dale Jones, my favorite Tennessee Vol, did not make my list. Al Wilson, the captain of Tennessee's national championship 1998 team, a 5-time All-Pro with the Denver Broncos, did not make my list. Derek Barnett, who history will look back on as one of the greatest players in Tennessee history. He's going to have a great pro career. Member of the world champion Philadelphia Eagles. And Reggie White, the Minister of Defense, member of the College and Pro Football Hall of Fame, did not make my list.
Man, you are blowing minds tonight on the Shasteen Show.
Blowing
No
time.
Eric Berry, no Reggie White, and no Al Wilson.
I'm going to tell you why.
Okay, man,
for me, it's about longevity.
Yeah.
For me, it's about playing and coaching and doing special things. So the second, and family ties. So the second person on my list is my cousin, Johnny Majors.
Oh,
Johnny Majors, one of the greatest players in Tennessee history. Johnny Majors was the runner-up to the Heisman Trophy winner in 1956. That Heisman Trophy winner was Paul Hornung from Notre Dame, who had a losing record, but he was the golden boy. So he got the Heisman Trophy. Sort of got cheated, sort of like another person on my list. But Johnny Majors finished second Heisman voting in 1956. Head coach at Pittsburgh, won a national championship with Tony Dorsett and the Pittsburgh Panthers. Came back to Tennessee when Tennessee was struggling. He turned Tennessee around. in the late 80s, beginning in the mid 80s. Tennessee went to that Sugar Bowl, beat Miami. We've talked about that multiple times. Tennessee then became a national player. Majors had some great teams until he was ousted in the early 90s and replaced by another person on my list. But Johnny Majors, born right down the street, Huntland, Tennessee, Lynchburg, Tennessee, the Majors family still around here. Johnny Majors joins General Neyland as one of the 5 faces of Tennessee football. We'll come back, get our number 3 spot in this contest. As we say, this show is driven by Russell Barnett Ford of Tullahoma and live downtown at London's. It's the Shasteen Show, 93.9 The Duck.
Have you heard the news? The Russell Barnett Automotive family has launched its new and improved website. That's russellbarnett.com. With over 1,000 new and pre-owned vehicles to choose from, then look no further than russellbarnett.com. Online service appointments, customer testimonials, and vehicle history reports, this website has it all. We are the largest Middle Tennessee family-owned dealership with 5 locations to choose from. russellbarnett.com, and why buy anywhere else?
Do you need more? More golf, hunting, or camping? More basketball, soccer, and baseball? Do you need more football? Do you just need more sports? LightTube's digital sports tier has more sports. Offering 12 additional sports channels for only $3 additional a month. What are you waiting on? Call 455-4515 and get more today.
93.9 The Duck, your local radio station playing the classic hits you know and love. The Duck covers all your local high school and college sports, from the Shasteen Show on Monday nights to Alabama football on Saturdays. Spreading the word to our listeners about your local business from southern Middle Tennessee to North Alabama is what the Duck does. If you're a new business looking to grow or an established business looking to expand, the Duck has a custom plan to fit your needs. So become part of the flock with 93.9 The Duck.
You're watching The Shasteen Show, presented by Russell Barnett Ford of Tullahoma on LightTube Channel 23 and 93.9 The Duck. Now back to Scott and Ken at London's in downtown Tullahoma.
6:34 on this July Monday night. Welcome back to London's along with Ken Keller. I'm Scott Shasteen. This is The Shasteen Show live every Monday at 6 o'clock. The home of Tullahoma's best burger. It's happy hour. It's London's. Come on down. You got to be present to win trivia tonight. So I need somebody in London's to walk up to us, or our producers here, Daniel and Dave, Smash and Dave, that popular singing duo, Smash and Dave, and give them the answer so you can win this nice Power T license plate. When was the last time the Tennessee Volunteers in football defeated both Auburn and Alabama in the same regular season? They play them both this year. When was the last time they beat them both during the regular season?
1997.
That's what Google's for. Nope, not 1997. Good guess.
Good
guess. Good guess. All right, let's continue to play 5 faces of
Wildcat
Alabama
tonight,
football. 5 faces of Alabama football.
All right, we're to number 3, okay? And when you talk about Alabama, you know, we established the defense. We talked about, you know, they added the nasty to the word dynasty. No doubt about it. Alabama's national championship team's predicated on defense, but they also run the football. And to run the football, you got to have some massive guys up front that can get the job done. Alabama's best offensive lineman of all time, and called by many the best NFL pro offensive lineman of all time, John Hanna. Played at Alabama 1970 to 1972. Barry Bryant called him the greatest offensive lineman that he had ever seen. And so he had a great career with the New England Patriots. John Hanna, for me, Scott, I got to put one of those guys that does the dirty work in there. You know, this was hard. You know, you got 3 Hall of Fame quarterbacks. You got Don Hudson. You got some of them guys, but none of the quarterbacks. You know, at Alabama, they don't put up a whole lot of big statistics. The quarterbacks don't. So that's why I left them off my list, even though 3 of those guys have won Super Bowls. Don Hudson broke all kinds of records, but John Hanna getting the job done in the trenches for Alabama. That's that 3rd one.
This was difficult. And you know it was a challenge for me when Condridge Holloway does not make my 5 faces of Tennessee football.
He doesn't make it either.
You know that was a challenge.
Let's see here. Now, you're supposed to have the five legends, and you left off Reggie White. You left off Al Wilson, Dale Jones, Eric Berry, and now Condridge Holloway. I'm anxious to hear those last 3 names.
It's crazy,
It is, man. It's good.
All right, I'm all about some longevity. I'm all about some multi-purpose. And I don't believe anybody has had more impact in the last 50 years. Yeah, I go 50 years now. The last 50 years of Tennessee football than Philip Fulmer. Philip Fulmer definitely gets a place in the 5 faces of Tennessee football. Philip Fulmer played lineman at the University of Tennessee. Philip Fulmer was a head coach at the University of Tennessee for 16 years. He won a national championship in 1998, and for most of his time at Tennessee, Philip Fulmer had the best winning percentage of any active coach, like up until the last couple of years, which were bad. But up until then, best winning percentage of any active coach. And now, Philip Fulmer comes riding in on the white horse after a decade of dysfunction and the Greg Schiano fiasco. Philip Fulmer comes in as athletic director, hires Jeremy Pruitt, gets Tennessee back on the right track. Player, head coach, assistant coach, head coach, athletic director from Winchester, Tennessee. Are you kidding me? We got one from Lynchburg and one from Winchester on the 5 faces of Tennessee football. That's phenomenal.
That is.
Philip Fulmer
historic.
joins Johnny Majors and Robert Nealon. All 3 coaches, 2 of them players, 2 of them assistant coaches, 1 of them athletic director. That's huge, man.
You really thought it out. I mean, that longevity, he kind of got me on that with 16 years, played there, won a national championship. You know, last night when I got home from church, 2 games on, one on the SEC Network, Alabama versus A&M 2012, and then you flip over and watch Keith Jackson and Tennessee versus Florida State in the Fiesta Bowl. Phil Fulmer winning that national championship 23-16. Watch some of that game. Man, what a game that was.
And then you know what the SEC Network showed after your game?
I don't know because I went to bed early after
They showed Tennessee Vanderbilt.
Oh, yeah. I watched
from
just
2005.
that one. Yeah.
The first Vanderbilt win in 22 years. Yeah. Oh, Jay Cutler, it was ugly.
And that was bad. That was with the infamous Bobby Johnson on the sidelines.
With the infamous Rick Clausen at quarterback.
Oh, brother.
It's the Shasteen Show, live from London's on this Monday night. We're doing 5 faces of Alabama, Tennessee football. But I want to know, crowd, when was the last time the Tennessee football Volunteers defeated both Auburn and Alabama in the same regular season? Bertha Smith just won.
She sure did.
Our trivia question, 1999 is the last time that happened. Tennessee, ranked number 7 in the nation, blanked Auburn 24-0 in Knoxville, and then went to Tuscaloosa, ranked 5th in the nation, and beat Alabama 21-7 in Tuscaloosa. So congratulations, Bertha. Great job. 1999. We had a 97 guess. That was close. A 98 guess. I was waiting for one more. Didn't hear it. Bertha sneaks in there and grabs that license plate. All right, Ken, your 4th face in granite. The 5 faces of Alabama football.
All right. Alabama's always been able to run the football. Again, no quarterbacks on my list, but I do got one running back on this list. There have been some great running backs at the University of Alabama. Johnny Musso, Major Ogilvy, Sean Alexander, Saran Stacy, Trent Richardson, Eddie Lacy. I could go on and on and on. But Derrick Henry is not on my list, and he won a Heisman Trophy. He was the 2nd Heisman Trophy winner at Alabama at running back. But the first one was a 3-star running back. A 3-star, yes, Bush Jones, 3-star running back out of Flint, Michigan. 2008 class came in. Nick Saban lost 6 games his first season at Alabama. He's only lost 14 since. part of that resurgence was Mark Ingram, this running back that led Alabama to the SEC title game. In 2008, they lost that game. Valiant effort by Mark Ingram to Tim Tebow and the Florida Gators. But in 2009, the next year, as a sophomore, Mark Ingram leads Alabama to the national championship in a win over Texas. Nick Saban's first of 5 in 9 years. Mark Ingram, Alabama's first Heisman Trophy winner on my Five Faces / Mount Rushmore Alabama football. Mark Ingram, he's the second leading rusher right now for the New Orleans Saints in their history, 5,233 yards. He's had a great career there, and I think he'll end up the all-time leading rusher with the Saints before it's over with, if Alvin Kamara don't break it later on.
I was going to say, till that record gets broken by Alvin. Good choice, Mark Ingram. Excellent choice. My fourth face in the Five Faces of Tennessee Volunteer Football belongs to, historically will be the person most people in the world will associate with Tennessee football, and that's Peyton Manning. Okay, Peyton Manning didn't win a national championship, won an SEC championship, but Peyton Manning, set every passing record. They're not going to be broken at Tennessee. Peyton Manning went on to have a tremendous professional career, won 2 Super Bowls, played, 18 years. I mean, just Peyton Manning is everything you would want somebody who represents your school to be. He has given millions and millions and millions of dollars to the University of Tennessee. I think he could be president of the University of Tennessee at some point. I think he could be governor of this state. I think he could be elected president of the United States if he wanted to be. You laugh.
Wow.
Look who's in there. You can't have Five Faces of Tennessee football, I don't think. And look, there might have been greater, Reggie White, Peyton Manning over Reggie White, over Al Wilson, Doug Atkins. Yes. I mean, Peyton Manning got to be on the Five Faces of Tennessee football. Robert Nealon, Johnny Majors, Philip Fulmer, Peyton Manning, 4 of the Five Faces of Tennessee football.
My 4 thus far, we're fixing to break, but I got Paul Bear Bryant, John Hanna, Mark Ingram, and Derek Thomas.
We're ready for number 5 on the way back, driven by Russell Barnett Ford of Tullahoma, live downtown at London's. This is the Shasteen Show on 93.9 The Duck.
Have you heard the news? The Russell Barnett Automotive family has launched its new and improved website. That's russellbarnett.com. With over 1,000 new and pre-owned vehicles to choose from, then look no further than russellbarnett.com. Online service appointments, customer testimonials, and vehicle history reports, this website has it all. We are the largest Middle Tennessee family-owned dealership with 5 locations to choose from. russellbarnett.com, and why buy anywhere else?
Do you need more? More golf, hunting, or camping? More basketball, soccer, and baseball? Do you need more football? Do you just need more sports? LightTube's digital sports tier has more sports. Offering 12 additional sports channels for only $3 additional a month? What are you waiting on? Call 455-4515 and get more today.
You're watching The Shasteen Show, presented by Russell Barnett Ford of Tullahoma on LightTube Channel 23 and 93.9 The Duck. Now back to Scott and Ken at London's in downtown Tullahoma.
6:48 on this Monday. The Rowdy Rascals are in the house. Always good to have the Rascals here at London's. It'd be good to have you here at London's any Monday night. Best burgers in town. It's happy hour. Come on down, enjoy the show, have a fine meal. A good time will be had by all. 24 days until high school football season kicks off. Tullahoma Wildcats host the Sheville Golden Eagles Thursday night, 7 o'clock, Wilkins Stadium, August 16th. Now, normally we have Fan Feast about 10 days before the first game. So my calendar says that's August 7th. I'm not aware of who the opponent is, but normally that's Fan Feast. Good opportunity for you to go down and see the Wildcats, support the quarterback club, eat some dinner, and watch some football. I think that'll be on August 7th. We'll confirm that with Coach Olive. We're doing the 5 faces of Tennessee and Alabama football. We are at number 5, Mr. Keller.
Number 5, last but not least. Who has a dog named Snoopy, was born on Halloween, and scared of Santa Claus as a kid? Of course, that would be St. Nicholas. Nick Saban, Alabama, 6-time national champion, tied Bear Bryant last year, 6-1 in national championship games. The only loss, last-second loss to the Clemson Tigers and Deshaun Watson. Alabama, under his reign, has only lost no more than one game the last 7 years. That's unbelievable. 5 national championships in 9 years. Saban's 10-year run, 125 wins, 14 losses, all 14 losses to ranked opponents. Let that sink in. That's unbelievable. He has won 9 championship games in a row, count SEC championship games or national championship games in a row. All right, so check this out. These rankings right here, these are some staggering stats, and I'm going to close with just these 3 because I could go on and on and on with these, but these bear out his dominance.
Could you go on and on and on?
I could. Alabama ranked number 1 in 68 of 153 polls in Saban's tenure, or 44% of the time. 44% of the time, that's staggering. They've been ranked in the top 10, 146 out of 153 of those polls. That's 95.4% of the time. Ranked number 1 in at least one poll, 10 straight years in a row. Nick Saban at Alabama. You know, I said before, I don't know if this guy's, Nick Saban is my favorite, but Bear Bryant is the greatest. Give this guy a couple more years, and he could pass the Bears the greatest.
I'm going to say something that's going to shock you. I believe because of the age that we're in and the parity that we're supposed to have, everybody's getting this TV money. All right? It's not like when Bear Bryant was the coach, and Bear Bryant could recruit 150 of the best players and just stockpile them down there in Tuscaloosa. It's not that way anymore. You have scholarship limits. Everybody's getting the TV money. Everybody could do the same, not the same, but could upgrade their facilities comparatively. I believe Nick Saban is the greatest coach in the history of college football. Yeah.
Wow.
I do.
Let's go, Rowdy Rascals. How about that? Yeah, give him some props. He's not a Tennessee homer.
And you think occasionally you're going to hear some feedback. Whoa.
Yeah.
Boy, just wait till my phone starts blowing up, baby.
I'm telling you.
All right, my 5th face of Tennessee football belongs to the late, great John Ward. When John Ward passed away a couple of weeks ago, you heard person after person after person after person after person say, if there's a Mount Rushmore of Tennessee football, John Ward would have to be on. He's got to be on it. I wanted to find room for Reggie White or Al Wilson or Jason Witten or Eric Berry or Doug Adkins or Dale Jones or even George Cafago, but I couldn't because John Ward turned Tennessee into a national brand. John Ward literally grew. He was like the water of the planted seed of Tennessee football in thousands and thousands and thousands of people in the Southeast United States. He just watered that seed every week. Part of the reason that my blood runs orange, it's because my daddy's did and all that stuff. But John Ward just helped fuel that with his passion and with the style that he had and the way he called a football game. Can't do 5 faces of Tennessee football without John Ward joining Peyton Manning, Philip Fulmer, Johnny Majors, and Robert Nealon, my 5 faces of Tennessee football.
Man, that's great. Now, you brought that all to a crescendo there. I can see why, with John Ward, why you left those other guys off, because that's the only person on the planet in UT football history, with his legacy that could knock those other guys out. I forgot all about him. believe it or not, when we had a tribute show, just what, was it 3 weeks ago, 3 or 4 weeks ago for him. So, man, that's a great list. You had Robert Nealon, Johnny Majors, Phil Fulmer, Peyton Manning, and John Ward. I had 2 Alabama coaches, Paul Bear Bryant, Nick Saban, linebacker Derek Thomas, running back Mark Ingram, and offensive lineman John Hanna. I think we did well.
That's fun.
Did Alabama, Tennessee fans well there.
That's fun. We'll do 5 faces whenever we can. We'll always have one ready to go, and we'll have fun with it. All right, we've got a few minutes here on this Monday night, Ken, and SEC Media Days ended, and the coaches have made their preseason predictions. So this will be old news in a week or two, so let's go through those predictions.
All right, you do the SEC East, and I'll do the SEC West. How's that sound? You shoot these for them.
No surprise that Georgia is the preseason pick by just a unbelievable amount. Georgia almost won the national championship last year. Kirby Smart has done a tremendous job with Georgia. Coaches picked them number 1, South Carolina number 2. Told you here when we went through Tennessee's schedule that even though Florida is like the traditional, you would think they would be, no, South Carolina coaches picked them to finish number 2. Florida's number 3. Missouri at number 4. Remember, they've got a great quarterback, Heisman hopeful at quarterback, and they've got a new offensive coordinator that's going to set the world on fire. Kentucky at number 5, Tennessee number 6, Vanderbilt number 7. My gosh, what were these people thinking?
You skirted past number 6 just a little bit too fast with your orange clad glasses. I don't know what they're thinking there, and I put a big orange highlight right there. Tennessee's not going to finish 6th in the East. They're going to finish at least 4th. They're going to beat out Missouri, Kentucky, and Vanderbilt. I got them at 7-5. Scott had them at, what was the record you had?
6-6.
6-6. So we've got them ahead of what the so-called SEC media experts, and we know they're not really experts as they think they are because they've only picked this right 6 out of 26 years since they've been doing this since 1992.
You know what my daddy'd say about those experts?
What's that?
They ain't here.
They ain't here.
So they can't be experts because they ain't here.
That's exactly right. And so the SEC West, this is what the experts say. They've got Alabama running away with the SEC West. They've got the Auburn Tigers number 2. Watch out for Jared Stidham and that defensive line at Auburn. They was in the SEC championship game last year. Lost that game to Georgia. Mississippi State, Nick Fitzgerald, new coach Joe Moorhead predicted 3rd. They're very strong on both lines. Got that great quarterback back, Nick Fitzgerald. They're going to be dangerous. I'm not sure if they'll finish 3rd or not.
Mississippi State's getting a lot of love.
They are getting a lot of love. Maybe too much love. Texas A&M, Jimbo Fisher, watch out for them. They returned 16 starters, projected at number 4 ahead of my sleeper team this year, the LSU Tigers. Now, LSU and Ed Orgeron, I thought he did the best job of any coach on SEC Media Days was Ed Orgeron. I like hearing the guy talking his gruff voice, but he did a great job, got a good grasp of his team, but those crossover games are brutal. Tennessee's got Alabama and Auburn, and LSU's got Georgia and Florida. So those are the 2 teams in each division that's got the hardest crossovers. Ole Miss at 6, Arkansas at 7. Alabama predicted to beat out Georgia for the SEC championship 20 times out of 26 they've been wrong. I wish Georgia would have got picked instead of Alabama because I don't like those statistics.
I don't like those statistics either, and I really don't like those West rankings. I think Ole Miss is better. I think the 2 6th-place teams are going to surprise some folks. I'm not sold. LSU is number 5th. I wonder when the last time was LSU got picked that low.
I agree.
Probably before Nick Saban got there.
Yeah, I think so. That's great. That's a great point. And like I said, out of the 2, I'm just looking at these 14 teams. The ones I think that could climb up is Tennessee and LSU. Watch out for them 2 teams moving up the projections.
So that's the projections from SEC Media Day. Ken, also sort of shorted in all SEC selections was the woeful Tennessee Volunteers. Evidently, they just don't have many good players.
Well, they've got a few good players. I think they're just being overlooked right now. Darren Kirkland Jr. out with injury last year. Trey Smith, I believe, did make it.
He did.
Good news. Jeremy Pruitt announced he will be back for fall practice. J.J. Peterson made his grades with Tennessee. That's good news for Vol fans. They need those 2 guys on the field.
Marquez Callaway and Jawan Jennings. If those two guys stay healthy and perform up to expectations, whoever the quarterback is, if he can get the ball to one of those guys, you got Brandon Johnson on the inside, he can get that ball to those guys, Ken. Tennessee's going to surprise people with their passing game.
Yeah, they are. They're going to mix it up, and I think the Todd Helton, the coach that came from USC, or is it Todd Helton? Helton's his last name.
Tyson Helton.
Tyson Helton. Okay, Todd's the coach, his brother. But I'm anxious to see what they do offensively. They're going to win with defense. That's going to be what they're going to have to do. But they're going to run the ball too, and then they're going to take some deep shots. We'll see.
Congratulations to Bertha Smith for winning our trivia question tonight. She'll take home this outstanding Power T license plate. We appreciate Caleb King back at the studio, handling all the duties there at the 93.9 The Duck studio on Wilson Avenue. Dave Stripling and Daniel Scroggins here on site, running the audio, the video, telling us what to say, when to say it, and how to say it. Appreciate all the folks here at London's for hosting the Shasteen Show every Monday night at 6 o'clock. For Ken Keller, I'm Scott Shasteen. Be good to each other.
The Shasteen Show, presented by Russell Barnett Ford of Tullahoma and brought to you by Southern Community Bank, Rogers Insurance Group, and Mission Collision, is a presentation of Bowman Media Company and 93.9 The Duck. The show is taped before a live audience at London's in downtown Tullahoma, Monday nights at 6 p.m. Come join us for cold beer and Tullahoma's best burgers. Thanks for watching the Shasteen Show on LightTube Channel 23.